Okay, welcome back. We still have our discussants, Honorable Remi Hassan of APC, he's Special Advisor to the Ogun State Government, and also of APC is Honorable Adekunle Ajayin. He is a former member of the House of Representatives in the Oduoti constituency. Actually, it's Boripe Oduoti constituency. And just before we went on that break, Alex had called in, I believe it was from Orile, and he had, sort of worked out, at least it's his position, that what happened in Lagos, for example, we're talking about, matters arising from the 2023 election. What happened in Lagos, according to Alex, who had called in, was that it's really an internal matter. And he didn't finish, unfortunately, before we didn't have that connection anymore. But when we came back in studio here, it was thought that he was talking about a distance between, could you just go over that bit a bit?
Trying to bridge the gap between the governed and the government so that the feedback can come in without anyone adding or deleting.
So that you know exactly what the lie of the ground is politically.
In Ogun State, for example, because we learn a lot of things from Lagos, and it's not going to be a bad idea if they also learn one or two things from us. There is an office of a governor liaison officer that covers each local government. They also have people who are ward liaison officers. They report directly to the governor. They go beyond the local government chairman, beyond the cabinet members, beyond the secretary to government, beyond even the deputy governor, and report directly to the governor these things that are happening within their various local government, so that a stitch in time will truly save nine.
Do you? I saw that you were nodding to most of that. Does that mean you're on the same page?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I remember in the not too distant past, we in Oshun had government liaison officers, at local government level, who report.
Which is not the same thing as a special advisor.
No, it's not.
It's okay.
It's these are like just like Honorable Remi Hassan has mentioned. They're like informants, as it were.
Just so that the governor is has a better view of the lie of the ground. Never mind what the newspapers are saying. Never mind what people are feeding him. These are people that are supposed to be giving the head, the governor in this case.
Yes. What it does is it gives the governor raw information, unprocessed. If the information about health situation comes through the Commissioner of Health, it will be processed. If there's an environmental issue comes through, it will be processed.
Exactly.
These people are supposed to give raw.
And do you think that was missing in Lagos for a while? Because people, assumed that Lagos being what it is, many Lagosians would have been surprised.
If it's missing, it then means that it has to be put in place. If it's not missing, then those who have been assigned that role failed.
It has to be, and they have to quickly address that.
Exactly.
Because this kind of a thing, ordinarily, it shouldn't have happened. It's the surprise part of it that I mean. It's like they would have known. What we're saying is that the mechanism, they would have known that it's likely to come here.
Well
but
ahead of time.
I'm guessing, beg your pardon.
I said they would have known well ahead of time that
this, but I'm suspecting that this thing surprised everybody, whether governor or no governor, whether liaison or no liaison. I think it surprised everybody, and that's the sense in which some people are actually angrily alleging in Lagos.
Let me say something, Uncle Yori. If you have been used to winning, you have always won. You have never had any reason to lose. You are the best candidate for complacency. So even when those noises were coming, I guess someone somewhere just decided to play deaf this thing towards it. And that's the result. But thank God that it was a battle that was lost. The war was won. So let this next stage is another opportunity to correct those wrongs and reposition Lagos for a stronger APC.
I mean, the beauty of it all is that we have a candidate that is sellable. We have a candidate that we can market. The developmental strides in Lagos are evident. But if you have a disconnect between what you're doing and the people whose behalf, or on their behalf, you are working, there is obviously going to be a gap in the middle that propaganda can fill.
Yeah. You know, I get what you're saying, but excuse me, I'm going to have to break away for a moment because our Sarah Ayeku is at the site of the, train bus mishap, and we'll cut to her now. There you go. That's Sarah. Good morning, Sarah. Yori Folani in studio. Good morning, Sarah. If you can hear me, tell us what is on the ground there, please.
Yes, good morning, Yuri. So what we see, so right now we understand that emergency responders have been able to clear out the BRT truck, the BRT bus that was stuck on the train track, and also they've been able to move the train involved in this incident. But according to eyewitnesses, what we understand is that this incident happened at about 7:30 a.m. That's this morning. A bus was at this particular intersection, and then you have a train coming from Agege, and there was a collision here at this intersection, which is where you have vehicles using the intersection to just around along Ikeja, along PWD Shogunle area of Lagos. And so just at this intersection, this was where the incident happened. It pulled the bus all the way down the train track. If you take a look at the train, at the track, you would see the screeching, you would literally feel what went wrong here at the spot. The screeching of the tires of the train, the marks are on the tracks, you'd see it there. And even around this area, you'd see some parts of the bus, scraps of the bus still around the incident scene. Although the persons that were involved in this incident have been taken to the hospital, we understand that 84 persons were rescued. 84 persons were rescued from the bus. And another thing, sadly, is that 3 persons were recovered. 2 adult females and 1 male were recovered dead from this incident. Emergency responders have also taken these 84 persons, giving them first aid treatment on the spot, and then taking them to Lasus in Ikeja to get further treatment. So we're expecting to see the governor and some of the government officials visit the scene and also visit the hospital to talk to some of the patients there, because it's very particular for us to note that the persons in this bus are Lagos State government staff. So they're persons close to the heart of the governor, persons that the governor would have interfaced with at some point while as governor of Lagos State. And so of course, we're expecting to see that the governor would probably visit the hospital, visit the scene, and of course see how it can commiserate with the persons that have lost their lives in this incident.
Yeah, I can understand that we're going to wait on the experts, the technical people, to give us an idea as to what exactly happened. As the wheels there, you could see, as you were saying, where there seemed to be a sort of a screeching. You can imagine that. But I imagine we don't want to offer any kind of thoughts on that until the experts tell us exactly what happened, because there are all sorts of stories going around, and so we have to get experts. Some tell us that the brakes are magnetic, whatever that means. You activate the brakes at one place, the brakes won't actually, even though they're activated, they won't actually, be operational or effective until many meters later, which seems to be the kind of thing you were talking about, having the brakes haven't been activated from around the Ikeja. And it took, yeah, go ahead, please. Go, please.
Yes, if I would cut in, around this area, which is just
Oh, I'm waiting to see if we can get her back. It sort of dropped. She was just going to explain. But I don't know, Sarah, if you're still there, even without the picture, could you continue, please? I'm hearing that she might not be there anymore. But really, at this moment, we can't take more than that. We just got that the governor is expected there, maybe other officials. But we did get from Dr. Olufemi Damilole Okeosoyintolu, the permanent secretary at LASEMA. These people have been the recovery team. The reason why you don't see the wreckage of the bus and the train there is that they actually have lifted those. The videos exist, but they've lifted those with all the heavy equipment that Lagos State has. So it doesn't look as if anything happened there, and I guess that's their job. So you don't sort of clog up the roads, and for that matter, the track. So I'll just say our thanks to Sarah, even though she seems to have dropped a bit out of, our connection. But thanks to Sarah Ayeku, who is there, and no doubt there'll be updates on that as we go along the rest of the day. Okay, back to studio, and what we're talking about now, the matters arising from
Obiori, before you proceed, on behalf of His Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, our heart goes out to the victims of this train disaster that just happened, and to Governor Sanwo-Olu, from your brother Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, please accept our condolences. To all the families of those who have lost their lives, indeed, we also say, please accept our condolences.
Indeed. These commiserations are very much in order. So, as you're saying, going back, we were looking at the fact that, well, if you want to call it a battle, we're talking about the battle and a war, and losing the battle and winning the war, and what is needful now is for people to really go back to the beginning, I imagine, on the part of those who feel that they were shocked by this. And it remains to be seen if this can be effectively done, because certainly Labour Party is, really, as it were, in a victorious mode, and they think that it's a foregone conclusion. Yesterday night, for whatever reason that it was done in the night, there was a rally in the night of Labour Party. The pictures of that exist, where they were quite exuberant and confident that they will be taking over Lagos. There's no 2x4 about it. Taking over Lagos, and it's like boxers. When when boxers square up, before they even get into the ring, there's also psyching. But one of the psyching that LP is doing right now is that we're taking over Lagos. It's going to be us, and it remains to be seen if the ruling party in Lagos, APC, is going to just roll over and die, as it were. Or if they...
Well, okay, I don't know. I think really the issues are beginning to become very clear. I was mentioning the fact earlier that we do have a sellable candidate. We have a history of performance. The disconnect has been clearly pointed out. You have arrogance in the audacity of hope, and everybody's entitled.
I like that. There can be arrogance in the audacity of hope.
Yes. It's a time for sober reflection. What has happened in the recent times in Nigeria. And I'm happy that the president-elect made mention of that fact when he said clearly, the youth of Nigeria, I hear you.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me go to Mr. George, who has called in from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. And good morning to your guests.
Yes, thank you.
Uncle Yori, I want to sympathize with the victims of that train incident. It's really sad. And I hope the Lagos State government takes a lesson from it, especially now that they are introducing light train. Our people are not used to so much sophisticated gadgets. In the past, they used to put a gate where there's level crossing. When the train is coming, they will lock the gate and the cars will wait behind. maybe things like that should be introduced so as not to put people's lives
Indeed.
in danger, especially these electric trains that are being that are coming up in Lagos. As it may, Uncle Yori, this issue of elections, I think the president in waiting needs to do something about ethno-religious politics in Nigeria. It is not very, very good, Uncle Yori. Let me just give you a hint of how serious it is. Before the presidential election, I gave myself a pet project that I'm going to talk to 1,000 Nigerians across this country that I know to convince them to vote for my candidate. You know that one woman came to me that I talked to. She said, please, sir, I'm not going to be able to do what you said. Or my pastor said that if I vote for anybody other than the one the pastor has recommended, that her first child is going to die. That she doesn't want her first child to die.
So all that kind of thing is going on.
Yes.
And this is to be decried.
Yes. And many of them believe those threats, believe those recommendations. The National Orientation Agency has not really been what it should be. I hope in this coming dispensation, the government must awaken that organization and let it come to the fore in reorientating Nigerians' mind.
Okay, Mr. George, we're going to have to leave it there. I beg your pardon, but thank you very much for calling in. We've almost run out of time. Not quite, but I wanted to sort of end up in studio. Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. There's still a lot more work to be done. We're also grappling with a sudden, well, yeah, I suppose it is sudden, a sudden postponement of the election. Honorable Remy has said that elections are humongously capital intensive. This is going to be very, very expensive, but this is one of those kind of situations where, yeah, we recognize that, but still people are going to find the wherewithal to go into it because it's like you can't get off this train until it gets to the station. And the station is that you know, the elections are being conducted and the results are being announced. But the other thing I noticed, talking about matters arising from this election, as you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's lawyers have applied to the courts that to grant him access to sensitive documents, which was also done before by the other opponents, who, by the way, it is known, haven't congratulated him yet, as we expect that this kind of thing should happen in politics, but it's because of their grievances. Well, we look at all of that. What do you think about that? Because now everybody is scrutinizing the documents. BVAS is going to be reconfigured. There are those who are not happy about that. There are those who are saying there's no way around it. They have to be reconfigured. What do you think? All sorts of people are commenting on our matter in Nigeria. They have observed that this is the election since the return of democracy that has had the smallest number of voters, that the person who has won with the smallest number of votes ever since we started.
Speaking to that, I think INEC needs to devise a means to clean up the voters' register. What is the modality for getting dead people off that register? What is the modality for getting ghost people off that register? Because it's the build-up of the same register that has been since 1999 to date that we are consolidating on. How many are we really? Maybe when we do the census this year, we'll be able to know. So we cannot even begin to posit concerning the turnout if the facts are not known about how many truly we are in terms of number of voters.
Indeed. You probably might have seen or read that was the British Institute of Strategic Studies at Chatham House. Chatham House. They've put out a highly critical summation from their point of view of how it went. Everybody comes in on our matter, you know, but that is what it is. I suppose it's the price of being big. They've not been very, no, we don't need to be flattered, but they've been highly critical of it. But nevertheless, we have a president-elect on our hands that has won that election. He has, his certificate of returns have been given. We're not saying that that is what Nigerians would want willy-nilly, but that they just want to get that. But it is the state of affairs. It doesn't matter what Chatham House says. It doesn't matter what they can. Comments are free. The Financial Times also did its own. You know, remember? Everybody's doing. So, what do you think is in the midst of all of this? Just very, very briefly, maybe no more than 1 or 2 sentences. How should we be, you know, positioning ourselves with all these hostile reviews that we're getting?
Well, for me, I believe that our elections have come. It's in the process of winding up. By winding up, I mean that the process ends when we come back from the courts. And after the courts have taken a decision, the president, at that point, has his work cut out.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Your thoughts on this whole matter about getting hostile reviews, negative reviews?
I will wish that INEC on its own reduces the tendency for them to be perceived as a biased umpire. There's nothing wrong in having separate beavers machines for the 2 circles of election, so that you don't need to reconfigure one, especially when issues like this
exactly.
And for us as a state, even though we haven't paid, we will say vote APC in the next election. We are positioned to have victory, be part of that victory party.
Okay. And as you said, INEC wants to get itself out of the situation where they're able to observe that INEC, you know, according to them, the harsh critics, didn't even obey its own rules, you know, and they're talking here about the instantaneous uploading, transparency, and all of that. There might be reasons. We'll talk about those at a subsequent program, but I want to thank you.
I think we need a little
yes, I want to thank you very much, Honorable Remi Hassan, for coming all the way to Lagos, but then, you know, between us and Ogun here.
Why not for the traffic? It's a smooth ride.
Exactly. And thank you very much, Honorable Adekunle Ajayin, as well, for coming on the program. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.